Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Live Coding, what used to be Second Breakfast, but we've taken a bit of a detour to a different structure of our live streams. Now we're calling this Live Coding with Friends. So what you might have seen in the intro is that we will be bringing on a new guest every week to talk about a different topic every week, build along with using a different tool, different technology every week, all within the ServiceNow space. So yeah, that's going to be our stream. They may be people from our product management space. We could have people from engineering, and who knows, we might even bring people on from the community who might be interested in coming on stream with us. But either way, you're going to see some different tools in use when we do our live streams. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions. So please feel free in the chat as we are building today or on future streams to ask questions that you would like to have the answers to. And today, I have the honor of being joined by Mr. Rob Peerenboom. Rob, introduce yourself to the folks. Well, we can't hear you, Rob.
Microphone.
There you go.
Up. Good catch. Thank you. Enjoy being live. So we'll do it again. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Robert Peerenboom. I'm an outbound product manager with our AI platform team. I specialize in AI capabilities for developers and app engine capabilities with the platform.
Excellent, excellent. So I had a little teaser in our intro here that we're going to be talking about vibe coding AI agents. What are we going to be building today?
Yeah, so what we're going to build, so vibe coding AI agents with Build Agent. So it's called the in-app agent skill. So Build Agent leverages their skills, just like you're familiar with Claude using skills files. Is the Build Agent app agent's capability gives us the ability to build agents, skills, and workflows. So what we're going to build today is we're going to take an application, we're going to add some agents, we're going to add some skills. What we're also going to do then is we're going to start from the ground up as Build Agent runs and we see the vibes processing and our Build Agent chat panel. We'll swipe across, we'll get to a fresh application, and it'll show you how when you're starting net new, whether you're extending task, creating like simple record producers, you can apply Build Agent logic. So the foundation for agents and skills and workflows is set up from the start as well. So we'll cover a lot today in a short time.
Amazing. That sounds great. I realized one of the things that we forgot to do in our pre-stream checklist, you got to share your screen. Otherwise, we're not going to see a whole lot of anything.
We do got to do that, don't we?
Yes, yes, for sure. While you do that.
We don't want to just see Robert talk for an hour, although we could tell some
I don't
jokes.
know. I mean, maybe we do. I don't know.
Yeah. So hopefully it looks like screen sharing is active. We can see both screens here. Perfect. So I will call out for Build Agent for our customers and developers and ServiceNow advocates out there, our teammates, is if you're not using Build Agent today, Build Agent is available in PDIs. So, but remember, there is limited auto or analysis capability in PDIs, but for your subprod test and dev instances that you have working for your customer sites, is there's a Build Agent trial. So you can install that in any instance. So what I'm showing you today, even if you're not running Build Agent today, you have a trial version of this, you can download that and access it. It gives you 100 interactions. And what I mean by 100 interactions is I type in a prompt, that Build Agent prompt that I type in, we're not worried about the assist or the tokens. You'll get 100 interactions to use with your trial environment. So you have a pretty good reach. You can explore and kind of try some of this stuff on your own.
Excellent. That sounds great. I know that was a pretty loud voice in the community about having access to Build Agent and then having more prompts available in Build Agent. So that was a nice addition that we had there in the PDIs. That's great.
That definitely was on the product team. That feedback was brought in, and our team changed that, and they our executives worked hard to push that through to give you more access to Build Agent.
Excellent. All right.
So let's start. So I'm in ServiceNow Studio here. So this capability, you can use this in ServiceNow IDE, you can use it in Studio. There also is a capability if you're using off-platform development, if you're using SDK, you can take a really, really big leap and dig in deep and start to build AI capabilities off-platform as well. I like using Studio, really nice view. It's nice and simple. You can see your applications, have some good navigation. But here we'll start. Let's maximize our chat here so everybody can kind of see what we're doing. You down, get you nice and clear. Log into Build Agent. I guess one thing I didn't have a slide. We were going to talk about Safe Harbor.
Okay.
I'll do my best to call out things that are maybe going to be like an AS4 or beyond, or an August or September releases. So inside of Studio here, you'll notice that Build Agent has your quick launch buttons, create applications, update applications, creating files. There also is this nice little nifty, cute add AI to an application. This is a new coming capability, so you want to make sure you're updating your IDE, SN_glider, so your studio environment is up to date, and also updating your version of Build Agent. Out-of-band updates, that way you have the most recent capabilities. So let's just start simple here. We're going to build live. We'll see what happens. Come in today, I want to add AI to an application. Not even choosing an application, we're going to go and we're going to add AI. So maybe we want to add AI globally. Let's just think of something that we can do globally for AI. So let him run across. Gives us a choice for our application. Let's do, I know I got a marketing event application. So Build Agent will guide you, and you'll notice what it comes back with for us. It's going to say agents or skills. We can even do workflows. So generic, it's going to do that. Now, what it's doing in here in the context, it's actually reading this application. This is the biggest difference between doing like on platform using Build Agent, using off platform. What Build Agent is going to do here is when it starts to read these capabilities out, is we're looking in my chat box, a couple different things are going to happen. There's user interaction and there's context gathering. So Build Agent's really doing 4 key things. So I'm submitting my prompt. What it's doing there is it's a prompt it's describing. It's firing up the UI and the IDE. Then it's doing request validation. That's critical. So as part of the REST API framework, it's got validators, it's got ACL components, and then like the Guardian. So everything is going to be set up right away. And then what it prompted me, you see the questions coming back, it was doing instance context gathering and knowledge injection. So it found my application. You'll see it pulled up that application here in the side panel. So now I got I have the instance context, and I also have my application context. So I can see specific things like table schemas, existing configurations, which is critical, will show as we build. Fluent API versions, knowledge sources, best practices, et cetera, et cetera. So I actually had the real live view. So let's build an agent.
Let's do it.
So let's do it. We're just going to tell it. Now we're flying blind here. We'll do another one. We get a little more prescriptive. And keep in mind, you'll see with, I don't know, everybody's level of comfort or exposure familiarity with vibe coding is there's true vibe coding, kind of what we're seeing now. Hey, just build an agent. Then what we call, you'll see there's some information on the community for myself, for my teammate, Andrew Vitolo of Publish, we're calling it kind of guided vibes. And you saw that if you're out at Knowledge, you use a very similar theme. Guided vibes is you're being a little more prescriptive. You're kind of giving, maybe it's just the outcome, maybe it's a user role, maybe it's some simple tables, but you're not getting into, you're not putting like sys-IDs or specific scopes or schema stuff. Spec-driven development you can do as well. So here it comes up. Appends available, says, what do you want to do? So it gives you some suggestions. Let's just choose one of the suggestions. I say I want to answer questions about upcoming events. Very vague, and Build Agent's going to build. So now what it's going to do is going to do a couple things when it runs a check. It's going to look at the application's context. It's going to read the full metadata. Metadata even across all the agentic workflows. It's going to look in Agent Studio tables. It's going to look in the SkillKit Studio. And the C, is there any existing information that I can use? Not just agents or skills, but tools. So reuse and reapply. So the nice thing is, it always is going to assume you want to build. If there's an existing capability or a tool, you can run. And here it comes up just as we talked. You'll see it found something. It found an agent. Now, while this is not very similar to what we want to do, the good news is Build Agent went out there and said, hey, before you build, keep in mind that you do have some things you may be able to use. This just shows you that reach of Build Agent. You're not just generically prompting and blasting a lot of things out to your instance. There's a wealth of knowledge that Build Agent can have. So
does that also count for like custom skills that you might have built, or custom agents, or is it only going to find the ones that are like out of box agents?
That's a great question. So it does find custom agent skills and custom workflows. It'll read those. And it doesn't just find the workflows. It'll actually look at the tools and the configurations that are inside those agents and skills. So it does a nice job of that. So it shows us, so we want to do one. So it's going to say create new. We don't want to do another news agent, but that's nice that it's there. Then you can see it gives you the information. It kind of gives you the description of what it's going to do. It gives you the role. So it kind of gives you a little bit of context of what it found.
Would it also, like, say this company news and events agent, if it was close enough, does it have the ability to like copy an agent and then you make changes to that copy to make it fit your needs? Because there's a lot of that I see.
Correct.
Being relevant. Yeah.
And that's a really good question. So if you've tinkered anywhere in SkillKit or Agent Studio, you'll see that you have the ability to duplicate, and you can iterate on those. You can have different versions. So Build Agent could duplicate that and iterate on top of that. So you do have that path, like Chrissy mentioned. If it does find something that's similar and you want to reuse, you could go ahead and do that. what we could do as exercise too is in my prompting here, rather than create new, is I could ask build agent, say, generate, the full detailed description of what this agent does, its tools, and let me assess a little deeper if I want to reuse this agent. So you could dig a little deeper. I'm already kind of down the path of building, but we can show you that if we got time in another interaction. But remember, you don't have to create, this is like live chatting. With the frontier model here on the back end, we're using Claude, is you could ask it saying, you suggest this agent, give me more details about what this agent's capabilities are, the tools, the ACLs, the configuration, and build agent will go and read that and present that as well. And you can make a more informed decision, because like, for example, this is my instance, so I know what that agent is doing. So it's something I've probably built. But if you're more just a developer pool and you're all working on, a shared instance, is you could ask build agents to generate more detailed information. So now this is what we're going to go through. Build agent is going to give us a couple quick checks here. All these checks that build agent is going to run, you'll notice are all around like the security layer. So think of like data, security, user logic. If we think of like full stack development, it's going to give us stuff around there. And we're just going to do dynamic user. It's going to go through. It gives you the choices. And you'll notice the build agents. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say we were waiting on build agent. There was one question that got popped in the chat. Asking if build agent can build based on out of the box modules or only create custom applications. Like if I want to build out HRSD and implement, will build agent create new HR cases or use out of the box items?
Yes, build agent can do out of the box. So you can extend your out of the box capabilities, but remember I can't alter HRSD, I can't alter CRM, I can't alter ITSM. Those are locked configurations in Shooter IDE, but I can extend on those. I can create a global agent, right? So I could go and I could work on global things, either global or globally scoped, both as well.
Yep. So
that is a good question.
So for example, in this case, we're talking about HRSD cases. Will it extend the case table if I wanted to extend it to build onto out of the box?
Correct.
It would just create another scope that kind of sat on top of HRSD.
Yes.
Got it.
And we'll show you, and that's a good question. There is a way to apply best practices. So with Build Agent, we have the ability, what is going to be coming in an August or September release, again, safe harbor, is you'll have the ability to attach files, and you'll be able to apply logic. Think of like markdown files that are your best practice documents, and we'll show you an example. So it could be exactly as I said, I always want to extend the case table, extend task. I want to use these type of descriptions. I want to use script, don't use business rules, use flows, any type of best practices that your organization has developed, or even just general best practices. You can apply those to Build Agent as well.
Cool.
So here we go. It's going to ask for roles. It gives you some examples. It finds roles if you want to do also add admin role. So it'll give you roles. So this is like who can actually go and operate the agent. So it's telling you what the agent's going to use a trigger. It comes up now next. So it guides you through the generic configuration. When it should be triggered, we're going to say no trigger. We'll just start it manually, but you can see the options in here. And again, this is going to get through, I call this like version .1 or maybe in version .5, not really even version 1, right? We're just kind of getting the framework up. But you'll see if you've ever got an agent studio and run through the amount of information that's been put in there to get his agent up and running, it takes a little bit of work. This will get us there a little bit quicker. But the good news is you'll notice what it really is focused on is a governance side of AI. It really is taking a high impact. All of your questions really focus around the governance. That's the 4 main questions that you'll see come here.
Yeah.
Now, I do not recommend saying any authenticated user in your building agent skills.
What about public? Can we use public?
We can just put public out there and see the hey, if you really want to test your agent, or if you really want canary in a coal mine, make your agent public, right? And just see what happens.
Yeah, just do it. Just let it rip. Yeah, why not?
Let her run. It's going to be great, right? We got no tricks up our sleeves here. I'll do any authenticated user just so I don't get flagged somewhere. I'm sure my instance is getting scanned.
There's a couple more questions in the chat while this is running as well. One question was about the generation of knowledge articles and PDFs within Build Agent. Is it able to generate those sorts of things within Build Agent? It's coming from Grant on LinkedIn.
You can. So you can generate knowledge articles, definitely, and you can determine where to put those. And I'll show you that. What I actually do when I create an agent is I actually, maybe we do this when we create an application, is I actually have like an AI governance knowledge base that is set up, and I just have everything that Build Agent's done as part of my best practice. I have Build Agent write everything into knowledge articles right inside of there. So anytime I iterate on a skill or an agent, I say like, and we'll show up when this starts running. I'll flip the screen and show the parameters. But one of the guardrails you can tell Build Agents for everything you create, any type of CRUD operation, log that inside of my knowledge base article of what was done, why it was done, like a full description. Then you have like a tail, everything of like a tailing, like your old logs in Linux. I'll
Yeah.
date myself, but you can have a tail of all of like your agentic activity, which is really, really nice. Now, all this information is logged. There are the build agent tables. You can go in and see like all the generated by syslogs and see everything you've coded, but it is still nice to have like a generic view of what you build, where the access permissions, and we'll show you that when
Yeah.
it's done. I'll type in like you can say like, hey, my AI COE needs to understand what was built and done, generate a knowledge article for this agent, and it does a really nice, clean job.
Cool. There's one more question in the chat while we're still waiting on build agent. This question is around, is there some best practice about which scope we should use when duplicating or creating agents? I know you mentioned there was some best practice thing that it can follow, but
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So we can apply the guardrails. You generally want to have your agents live with your scope. So if you think of ADLC and SDLC, is if I have, you can have cross scope privileges, so you can operate across ServiceNow like on a full PaaS environment. But the challenge is going to be if your agents live outside of your scope, the cross scope privileges will be a little bit of a challenge. And also, how do you package an application for delivery? The nice thing is you'll see when I'm inside of ServiceNow Studio here is I'm building this agent. Whatever I had set up for source control, all of my agents are going to get pulled along with that. So whether I create an agent or I create a skill or I create an agentic workflow, all of that is pulled alongside of there. If I develop outside of my scope, things get a little bit goofy when I'm thinking of how my SDLC operates. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. But another good question, like how you're thinking of keeping fidelity of your code together.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thanks for the questions, guys.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
So build agent's doing his magic. What really is going on here, there's kind of 8 big steps that build agent does as you see you're going through here. Developer submits a prompt. There's request and validation routing, all the governance we've seen that come through. There's instance context and knowledge gathering. Build agent needs to understand, can I build? Do I have the licenses? What else exists? Then there's the system prompt generation. So build agent assembles your prompt with the formatted prompt to send it out. So the API provider goes through one extend, goes out to Claude, response comes back, presents your plan. You saw that I said, go ahead and build. Then it does artifact generation and deployment. So what it does is it builds before it deploys. That's the steps it's going through now, and you'll see it. And then you'll get like data persistence and telemetry. Everything is set up and running. That's the build agent 8-step cycle, all in a whirlwind for everybody on a fine Wednesday afternoon.
It's Tuesday. Getting ahead of yourself.
Tuesday.
I love, so I get some, I don't know why, maybe I'm crazy, but I get some joy out of seeing build agent fail and then fix itself. Like, oh wait, this is wrong. Let me try that something different. Like, I don't know. I've enjoyed seeing it fail and then fix itself. That's been kind of nice.
It does. And build agent does have self-healing. And the nice thing is when we'll go into agent studio here, we'll get him spinning up. You'll see we created an agent we had new. We'll load him up. It's going to give us a little summary while we're there. Let's go here. And now you'll see our little fine AI agent shows up. It gives you a full deployment summary, gives you the configuration, what it was done. It gives you information and even how to use it, like how to test, and we'll test this. Like tell me about the marketing summit or the available spots. So we'll just choose one of these for a little bit later on. And then it gives you the full deployment, but you can say like our COE team needs complete KBs generated per each AI agent. Generate. And it will fix your bad spelling. I didn't get an English degree, sorry. So I don't mind my typing, right? I'm not Shakespeare. I code,
I'm the
man.
queen of typos. Don't worry. Queen of typos here. I find myself having to fix pretty much every Teams message I send ever. While you were doing that, there's more questions in the chat if you would like to answer. One question, what are the best practices around using IDE versus ServiceNow Studio for agentic development?
Oh, that's a really good
preference, or is it just yeah?
So I'll give you one developer's point of view. My point of view is ServiceNow Studio is very easy. It's easier to navigate. You can see it's a friendly view. You have kind of all your metadata on the left-hand side. It's easier to integrate with like all your repository configuration. You can even go and like publish update sets from right in here as well if you go to deployment. So I can see the update sets and push those through standard or release ops. So it's very user friendly. It's very like ServiceNow architect admin interface friendly. IDE is very powerful, but it does take a little bit more work. There are some refined repository things you can do inside of IDE. It's a little more powerful that way. Like you can do diffs and different things, diffs and diffs. It's a lot of diffs, but you can compare files in IDE. So it really is just a matter of preference. The tool capabilities behind the scenes are the same. It really is just the experience and what you want to use.
Gotcha. Okay.
But that's a good question too.
One more, if you're ready for it.
Yeah.
This is going to be 20 questions for Rob today, but it's great.
It's
I love
right.
it. This question is, can we use Build Agent to debug AI agents from logs without pasting the logs in? I'm assuming that's what that means. Like use Build Agent to run AI agent and fix it in a loop without human input.
Without human input. So Build Agent to run. So you would have to be required. So if a Build Agent fails, it will try to repair itself.
Right.
But if something fails in your AI agent logs, you have to remember some of those agentic logs are not natively accessible, meaning you just can't read them as a standard platform user.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little bit, they're a little bit hidden like support or maintenance mode. But you can, my approach would be is Build Agent can do some of it. So it's kind of like a 50-50 answer. Build Agent can do some, it'll try to repair itself. You'll see, we'll go into our agent here. This is generating the KB. I hope we get an error. We can kind of show you. I can paste that error into Build Agent. It'll iterate and try to fix the agent and skill it created. But secondarily, it's just easier always rather than on its own is just pasting your direct errors in and letting Build Agent figure it out. I would just go that route.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, here we got an error. Here's which is interesting. So we have this agent right here that we just created, and it's telling me it doesn't have a it's hey, I have no AI agents for the marketing event application. I'm going to say, yes, you do. There is a marketing event assistant AI agent. Right? Like you got to remember, he's just Build Agent, he's just out there doing his thing. He's just an LLM. He only knows what we tell him. But we can see, so if we go out to AI Agent Studio, you'll see here's our agent. And this is kind of where, let's fix our scope here because I don't know what I was doing today.
Oh, you're in a police scope. That sounds dangerous.
That's interesting. It's actually, we worked for the French police for Interpol.
Oh, actually, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Using AI agents to handle. So if you think of we all know what a record producer is. You're familiar with that, and the platform is
correct. Yes.
A complicated form for anything dealing with local law enforcement or city officials. These forms and these record producers are massive. Is having a guided exam. That's a great use case for agents. Is have somebody guide it. Or worse yet, is Christy submits a case and I'm a caseworker, so I'm a local police officer. I don't understand probably 90% of what's in there. Is having a TDLR generated, like, hey, this was your case that was submitted. Here's a TDLR. This is what you like, or breaking out my steps. That was a use case for that. But good catch on our police app.
Neat. Yeah. Well, it's kind of drew my attention when you're switching the scopes to police. I'm like, oh, what are we doing?
Yeah. So there are some good public use cases for that. So here's our agent built, even though Build Agent says, hey, I can't create documentation or have an agent. Well, here's proof. We have an agent. You can see it defines a specialty. It gives it an agent description, defines the required roles. So we have the roles in here, but this is the beautiful part of it. If you've ever gone in here and built out your instructions and your steps, this is where agents and skills kind of go off the rails very easily. Is you got to remember is if you have an agent or a workflow with a chain of agents, is they're not getting the correct information in the proper order, the steps are going to fail. Or if another agent is relying on the output from an agent downstream in a workflow and it misses something, it's not going to be a pleasant experience. But you'll see here's what it did. It did a pretty good job. It gave you the 3 steps, and it also did some things with like what not to display. So it knows not to display like PCI. If we do the police example too, it would actually pick up, hey, this is something like HIPAA. It reads fields and understands that. That's at part of that instance context and knowledge gathering. It knows what fields are, or maybe if you're running Vault, Build Agent can interpret that and it knows not to display that information. So it gives us a really nice job of the steps. Here we can go through. By default, it's not going to allow third-party agent. So if you're using A2A or MCP, it's not on by default. Doesn't set up the memory category. It does set up the memory category, and you could learn it to do past interactions. We can do that. We'll save and continue.
If I switch those things on that you just showed, where it's off for third parties and those sorts of things, is that something then that is surfaced in like AI Control Tower?
It is correct. So
Okay.
this will be, that's another great point. This agent will automatically be registered in your assets and AI control tower. So the minute it hits that table, AI control tower runs and does its asset operations. It's going to be visible in there as well.
Gotcha.
So here's the tools. We can go and see it added one tool. My agent is pretty simple. Maybe we'll try out something crazier like a workflow. We're looking up agents, basic CRUD tool. That's pretty standard. You can see other tools. Here's the key part, the ACLs, all the security directives. You can see that our questions were applied. Save our updates, data access. It's going to pull that through. It knows the users that they are. We don't have a trigger. You can modify this here if you want that to be done. If we'll show you here what you have for triggers, what's available. So think of all the CRUD operations. They can be scheduled, records, inbound emails. We're just going to run this for testing.
I have found those triggers to be a little tricky to configure. I feel like that's a whole other live stream episode about triggers.
Yeah,
there
are some nuances. So a fine teammate of ours, Victor Chen, is the outbound product manager for AI agents. He has some really good content in the community. If you search for AI agents and triggers, there's some really good guides on how to set up your applications for the best success with triggers.
Noted.
So here we go. We can save and test. Let's see. We'll pull it up and we'll test and we'll see what happened. A quick little building agent. So it should load our context here. Give it a second to load as we wait for the magic of AI and fiber optics to come through. I don't know, is there a way to do a show of hands? Has anyone tried even to build a skill or an agent using build agent? It'd be interesting to see. This is relatively new.
Yep. I shamefully have not done it yet.
Yeah.
I've built pretty much everything else, but I've not built an agent or a skill yet using build agent. But I've built agents before just by hand. And I love the fact that it is very good at detailing those steps because I inevitably miss something. So I've relied on build agent a lot of times to add context that I'm missing, that I'm not thinking about. And it's been good that it's been able to tell me hey, maybe you should try, or you should add this, or you should add that. And it covers all the steps. So that's nice to see. Cause that was my least favorite part of, building a agent. Look, it's a live demo now. This is how you can tell it's live.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
It does not want to test. It's amazing. It's beautiful. So I built this beautiful agent. I can't test it. Let's get out of here. Let's just go back.
That's all right.
Here. Loading
see, even ServiceNow folks are affected by licensing.
Yeah. So there's new guidance on there. So if you're across the prime entitlements, so what you're seeing here is a negative effect of a developer tinkering with their insurance that has a mix of weird entitlements. So I'm doing unnatural things to my environment.
I got you.
Yeah. So if nothing today, my instance can be a lighthouse of what not to do, how to stay off of the developer rise.
Fair enough. Perfect. That's great. And normally I stay away from questions about licensing on calls like this, but it comes up a lot. There is a question in the chat about how build agent is licensed. Can you give a very brief general description of how build agent is licensed?
Yeah. So build agent comes along with the Now Assist for creator entitlements. That is your path to accessing build agent.
Easy enough. Okay.
Pretty
straightforward.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like licensing questions like that. We have more of those, please. Those are brilliant.
Yep.
So we'll try our tests again. If not, we'll build. And so, yeah, we can see live.
Love it.
Come on. There you're thinking. Yeah.
Yep. I feel that pain.
Yeah, it's not letting me test. All right, well, let's do this. Let's go over here once. That's just for giggles. Where am I? I'm on this instance. And again, Robert's terrible typing.
Oh, that's okay. We can't see what you're doing right now.
Oh, it's not sharing?
Not on that one. It looks like you have a tab shared. And so it's only, Yes, you have a tab shared, so it's not showing you both.
Oh, why? That's not correct. We don't want that.
Good.
We want to share.
We've seen most everything that you've been showing, so.
We want to share the entire screen. There we go.
And boop.
Okay, so let's go in here. Let's see if I can test here if I'm having a permissions issue.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, not me. No, don't do that. Took myself off or just put myself on the screen. Here we go.
Okay, let's just go to here. Let's see here. Or maybe there is an issue. I was getting access control issues in here too.
Interesting.
It could be. I do a fair amount of
Oh, you got the button is enabled this time.
There it is. So this is a different agent. What we're doing here is debugging actual testing. Let's make sure sharing goes. Let's go back here. You're not sharing. I don't know why you are being fickle, but let's do this. Should we do something a little fun here?
Somebody suggested trying to add a task number.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it shouldn't be reading task. It should just read generically, but let's do this.
And somebody asked about showing the eval test for agents. Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah, that's where I was going into here.
Got ya. Okay.
So this is an agent. This would be the evaluations you run. So this is another agent that I created. So what I did, we were working with the customers. They were always challenged with the amount of data they had. So think of, like you're mentioning, cases. There's a synthetic data generator, the data generation inside of Now Assist Skill Kit and also inside of Agent Studio. But what I actually did here is this was a way for a customer that had an application. They could load up in any type of thing like XML, Markdown, whatever their case files came in. This is for a watch manufacturer. They wanted to test real data. They want this fake data. So they wanted this massive field. So we used Build Agent to build a data generator for their subprod and test and dev. So they can show you here. And so this is like the synthetic. They could fire up the AI agent, says, hey, I need to test this application for customer service. And then it could fire in all their real data and it would give them evaluations. So think of like I'm prepping my system to build AI, which is weird. As I used AI to build a system to test AI, right? We're getting into that whole wormhole.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I have done that, created like not flow generators, but like data generators, but I've never thought to use an agent to do it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe I'll try that next time.
So it was really nice because what they could do is they could have a scheduled job. So they actually had a trigger. So when a customer service manager uploaded a batch of like their sample files, that would be the trigger. Then the agent would run and give them a recommendation. So what they were doing is they're using it to help guide their data model. So as they evolved their customer service data model, like maybe certain fields were written, things were hidden, had PCI or had HIPAA or like just varying information. Then they could take that output and go back to their development team and say, hey, we need to structure our data model a little bit better.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it was like a fun use case. So here's our marketing event application. Let's give you a whirl again. If not, we're going to build live and we'll do something fun. Where is my word?
We had a suggestion from the audience here that duplicating and retrying it sometimes works.
That will also work, correct. I needed my, and here, where is it? I want to show you this.
I'm going to close my door real quickly. Sorry. Got kind of
that's all right.
Hang on. I'll be right back. Continue.
Yeah, so we are just trying to get a, okay, let's go here. It might be, there were some changes with the permission, so we'll see what we get here.
Forgot my background.
There we go.
Hey, nice.
So we'll let you run the test. And you will see I like to call it the art of building agents and skills. It's not very iterative like you would think, like standard development. It's not like building a script include. You kind of just tweak it. There's a little bit more refinement to it. And you saw the amount of information had to be put in to define
Yeah.
that agent.
Yeah.
Is every little thing that happens weird. Takes a little bit of debugging. But the good news is if you go to the community and you search for AI agent debugging, there's a really, really nice guide out there. And there's some really nice videos about triaging and setting up your agents and skills.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll find that and post that in the chat.
And it actually worked. So that's interesting. We didn't run an error. So we did have a little bit of permissions issues, and I went into super mode and just kind of figured I'll bypass. No, I didn't want to mess around with the ACLs. So we only have some time left. But you'll see that. So that agent, right? I used I didn't even really vibe code. I used a quick click button. It said add agent to an application. I selected my application and I told it what I wanted to have it do, and it built an application and read my tables. And here's the real agent it ran, other than the high latency. But that's just, these are my employee instances, so they're not like full sub prod, not production. So they are what they are. But
we get those agents that are running on people's desks, or those instances that run on people's desks, I think is why.
Yeah, it's like your old home, like your old media server under your desk. You used to have all your home videos on. That's like kind of what my
we have one of those. We have, my husband insists on having like a 2 terabyte hard drive, or no, it's 8 terabyte hard drive connected to our router so that we have network storage. I'm like, there's a cloud for that. Why do we have this?
Exactly.
But it's come in handy a couple times, so I'll give him that. Hey, the article that you're talking about for debugging AI agents, is that by Gokul Nair? Is it who that's by?
I can't remember. If you go, it's under the Now Assist community. If you go into that portal section.
Yep.
And then you search for AI. You search for AI agents debugging.
That's it. Okay. I'll post it in the chat so people can see it.
And there might be. And there was you will have to have a Now Support account, but if you go into Now Support, there is a really good article there. Yeah, it's Gokul Nair. Yeah, this one.
Okay.
I looked it up, saved. Yeah, he's it's a really brilliantly read.
Yeah, it looks like a really nicely written article, so that's good.
Yeah. So we had tested. So now let's try to build some more things. So we know we got something built. Let's go back to why build agent was being cuckoo. So I'm going to end this quick. Don't mind me. But what I want to do here is if we go to here, did I have Studio open? Yeah, I do. So let's just say we want to build a new application. You're talking about extending case. So let's say we want to create a new application. But what we want to do is we want to build this application. We want to make sure that we're going to apply AI first principles, some AI design principles, and we'll show you what that looks like here. So what we want to do is we're going to paste this in here. So I did have the attached. So this one does have the updates. I could have attached this file as well here. So we can say before, hang on a second. I don't know what I did here. I fired up dictionary. Before we create anything, we need to apply. So what I'm doing here, let's just blow this out as you can see. But what I did here is I put a markdown file. Let me just see if I can drag it across. I can't. So what I'm giving here is parameters. If you've seen like off-platform development using the SDK, is you can have skill files, or you can have inside of your project, you can assign parameters as well, best practices guides. I could attach that file in here, but I pasted them in for build agent. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving it principles and guidance, like table structure, like extend tasks. You can see you could extend case, you can modify this. Use reference fields over embedded data, and it gives you like a reason why they help agents, normalizing your schema, like field design. So what this is actually going to do is it's actually going to set up your application. So think if you're creating like even something like a new record producer, maybe it's a simple table, like a simple request form, is it's going to set it up so when you build an agent or a skill, all of that behind the scenes metadata that makes agents and skills successful, it's going to be set up from the ground floor. You'll see, so even like the security model, I'm telling it what it needs, like separation of concerns, role hierarchy, access control lists all the way across. Cross-scope access, you mentioned that again here. See if an agent exists in cross-scopes, it's telling you how to set up the privileges, API first access patterns, business logic and automation. So full out. So we'll apply this in here and we'll build something net new.
We have another question in the chat, and this is about MCP servers, which I'm going to plug next week's stream, by the way, where we'll have another PM on showing MCP servers inside of Build Agent. But
Nice.
Shameless plug for next week. But the question is, if we were using an MCP server, is it possible to create AI agent skills through an MCP server? Now, I don't know if that means using an external MCP to create, but
well, that's what I'm asking. Is your path an external MCP reaching into a Build Agent MCP and triggering that skill? If that's the path, it would be, can you do it? Yes. Is it something that we provide out of the box? No. So I'd be interested, one, to see you getting that working too, and just a use case and justification of that is, you'll see that that's basically how the SDK works externally, right? As we're coming in through those capability providers like that. Well, it's not a direct MCP, but I guess like what would be the goal of having, MCP to MCP? I guess if you're having a workflow, something to be triggered out, you could do it, you could build it, but I'd just be very mindful of what's created, right? As information pass across, you lose a little bit of that guardrails and context.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a good question. That's what you come back with. But you'll see here, as I applied all my design principles, this massive markdown file that I typed in there. And I do recommend, as you're getting started with Build Agent, is today, these are ephemeral. So you'll notice I paste these in. If I were to leave Studio and go back in, I got to reapply my business logic. That is going to be remedied in some of the upcoming updates for Build Agent. So you'll be able to have developer-based best practices or app or project-based best practices carry forward, so you don't have to paste them in every time. But for me, it's just kind of muscle memory since I've been doing Build Agent for a while. I generally paste in a bunch of different markdown files that I have available.
If I'm using Build Agent in IDE, do I have the opportunity to add markdown files in IDE?
You do. That's a little bit different, correct? So there's a little bit of gap between Studio and the IDE. Is with inside of the IDE, you can set those up and you can just point Build Agent, say, hey, here's your directory, all your best practices, your capabilities, your guardrails, and it just iterates that every time, so it understands that.
Gotcha. Very cool.
But that's a great point, Chrissy. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah. So I put the principles in. You'll see what it did, and it broke them down. It has a data model, field security. So let's try to build an agent here. A team of, let's just see here. Customer service. It would be pretty vague here and see what happens. Amount of complaint record types.
I feel like this is a pretty relevant one too, because I mean, as much as we like to think that people are building lots of new things on the platform, a lot of times they're extending out of the box capabilities or building onto something that comes out of the box.
Correct.
So it's good to see, like, yes, we'd like to build the fun, crazy workflows and cases. Like, I named that Tune app in Build Agent when we did the Build Agent challenge. It's fun, but nobody's doing that in reality. So seeing something like this that is relevant to people in our community building, I think this is great context. It's good.
Yeah, and then again, safe harbor. Build Agent does have coming planning mode and assist configuration mode, so you'll be able to actually operate on stories. So if you think of like, hey, I want to chew down this backlog, I need to fix this script include. Maybe I got to fix this flow. I got some business rules that are antiquated. Maybe people just want to apply naming conventions. Build Agent can actually read like your DevOps, whether those are story records inside of ServiceNow, your Scrum records outside of like even JSM. Bring that information in. Build Agent can then work through and do a very similar motion of chewing that down.
Would that be using, like, if it's external, would that be using like an MCP, for example, perhaps?
Correct. So you can use MCP for that. So that's a great one, Chrissy. You talk about plug in your next session as well. So it's
I can't help it. I have to, right?
you got to self-promote. You have to do it.
Yeah, totally.
But it is a great point to keep in mind is you see us doing a lot of creation with Build Agent, but we know like our day-to-day jobs isn't like, hey, build me this big fancy application. If those are our jobs, I'd be awesome, amazing, super fun. It'd be really cool. It'd be Dave and Buster's every day, but most of us don't live that. We do have backlog, we have platform work, we have configuration. The good news is Build Agent is evolving to operate in that motion. So you're going to have build, you're going to have update, you're going to have configure, you're going to have deploy. So Build Agent will have planning mode where you can say, hey, I have customer service, I have HRSD, help me just deploy it, whether it's extending tasks, extending case, building agents. That all is going to be incorporated into Build Agent here.
That's awesome.
Between now and September.
That's amazing. Safe harbor.
Yeah.
Safe harbor.
Safe harbor. Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah. So you'll see I did like very vague. I just said a team of customer service users process a high volume of complaint records. And I spelled it wrong. I said an in-app agent automates resolving complaint use cases, even with my bad spelling. So of course, it's always going to tell you great, solid principles. It's not going to say, hey, Rob, you're a clown. We don't want to do this. So it gives you it gives you an application that shows you here what you're going to do. It knows what we're going to extend. It looks for roles. We're going to have it approved and just see what happens. So now the difference is here, it was applying. You'll see what it did is with the logic that I put in there, it's going to extend, it's going to set up complaint management, and it's going to build everything from the ground up. So it's extending and it's going to reuse and it's going to go through the steps again. But applying that my practices across, and it shows you what it has done, like even my documentation. And that's what I mentioned is, like Chrissy pointed out, if you are in the IDE, you could always have that documentation as part of your closeout loop with working inside of Build Agent. You could paste that in. I just have that natural structure now. When I go in Build Agent, I pay, hey, here's Rob's best practices. Everything is always just documented, updated. That way, when I leave, I can go forward. Because what you can do is remember with Build Agent's really kind of cool is you can actually see what Build Agent did. Is you can create as like a simple React workspace and read those tables and have like your Build Agent throughput and your Build Agent productivity generated. You can have all information in like a nice user dashboard.
Very cool. Very cool. I see that you ran into the common plague of ServiceNow employees scope issues, like naming issues. It was able to solve that, which I'm like, man, that scope's definitely taken already.
Oh yeah. Oops,
I guarantee it's a scoping issue. Yeah, a scope name.
Yeah.
Yep, already taken. Yeah.
Yeah, that's there.
Funny.
So you'll see Build Agents doing the stuff that's coming across. You'll notice one thing that's taking a little bit longer between this and my first just Vibe agent that, hey, I think the demo gods or the agent actually worked, even despite some login issues, is it's taking a little bit longer. Any guesses why it's taking longer than it did before? It's because I put Build Agent in a box. I gave it that markdown file of parameters. So now every time that it goes through and tries to develop and iterate, it has to reference that best practice. So that's something to keep in mind. I've seen work with some customers that, they have these really beautiful markdown files. They have these really discrete instructions. Hey, for script includes, do this. For business rules, do this. For ATF tests, do this. That's great, and it gives you a real structured output, but it will take Build Agent a little bit longer. So don't just jump to, we always want to jump the shark. Oh, Build Agent is slower. Claude is slow, or maybe I don't know, maybe my nodes are having issues or something like that. Is when you apply those rules to Build Agent, now it has to go back and reflect on that all of the time, and that's what it's doing right now. So it does take a little bit longer. That's so point, yeah, it's kind of like why do you have brakes on a car? You know that joke, right? It's not to stop, it's so you can go fast, right? So that's kind of like you have brakes, you can go fast. Like Build Agent, like basically I had no brakes. Just build me an agent, do your thing. I don't care, just build it. You'll ask me the questions, just build me this big amazing agent, and it did it really fast. Well, now that I said, hey, like here's some brakes, you only have gears 1 through 2, right? Like make sure your windows are rolled up, don't go over 30 miles an hour. I did all I locked down that Build Agent, and told it what it can do. And now it's road rules, it takes it more time. Yeah. And you'll see now what it's doing here based on there is it's validating as it's building, which it wasn't doing before. So based on my parameters, when it's developing things, it's going back like, hey, I'm creating something, I got to validate. And if it doesn't work, it has to go back through and fix that.
We have another question, which I've also seen this happen. So I'm kind of curious of the answer here. The question is, when I'm creating agentic workflows, which scope should I use for my update set? For example, when I add an AI agent and its workflow, the artifacts appear across different scopes. I've seen weird things like that happen, and I don't know if that's me, that I'm doing something wrong, or like what
scope. You should be in the scope for what you're trying to put that agent in, unless you're trying to do like something like you're just doing like global and you're just going to push a bunch of update sets through. You should always try to operate and build that agent in the correct scope. Now it does get a little bit tricky within Build Agent, but it should show you like your scoping in here, like where app scope where you're applied. You don't have the ability to switch in there. You'd have to switch outside of here and come back in, but that's something that's here. Can we change? And let's just do this. This worked. Let's keep our working one. Let's update an app. Let's just do this one for giggles since we know it's really fun. So we can do a workflow in here. It'll be in French because we all love French. It makes it really interesting when it builds agents and things are put out in French context.
In other languages. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see here is it's got the application, and it's got the update set is can I change the scope here to have AI agents in a separate scope. And I'm standing. I don't stand when I type a whole lot. So we'll let that run, but we'll look back here. So he's still building. So you'll see how it's taking a lot longer. Remember, I had a pretty detailed list of steps, right?
Yeah.
And it's going through, so it's taking a lot longer. So the good news is when you're experimenting with AI, is you can demonstrate to, like, you know, if you have like a COE or governance team, like, hey, I can apply logic from the ground up. So everything I built is already set up the way you want to have the governance teams built up. It just makes them feel more comfortable and lets you explore and experiment faster.
Sure. Will it also, like, you give it this giant markdown file or of instructions it should follow? Will it block you if you tried to go outside of that and say absolutely not, or will it just gently suggest that maybe that's not the best idea, or is not following the guidance that was given initially?
That's a great question. It won't block. It'll gently suggest, but that's feedback that we've gotten. To some customers have asked that they could have like a blocking rule. Like, if you see these 10 things, just stop your build agent interaction. That's not there today, but that's great product feedback, because you're thinking of that for just different scenarios.
Yeah, makes sense. It feels like you'd also, if you're that stringent upon like building wise, you probably also have accompanying instance scans of some sort that could pick up those things. So if it did make it through the pipeline, you'd pick that up at some point during the deployment, I would think.
Put in like a type here. I don't mind the typing. This guy, he's this on step 5. It's still going to be building like I did. It does. He's still working, but he does take a fair amount of time. Yeah. And you got to remember, it's a loop. It's every interaction. So when it does that prompt, sends it out, comes back, it has to assemble. So it builds before it deploys. So it's going through that whole configuration check. It does take time. Right. It depends on what you're trying to do. If we're trying to experiment, right, probably no guardrails, but if you're building something that you really want to demonstrate or have like semi-production ready, like in subprod, I like using those configuration parameters.
Yeah, I had no idea that that's what would make it take so much longer. It makes sense, like I get it, but I had no idea that giving it that sort of like structure would make it just take longer. That's good to know.
Yeah, we were working with some customers, and they had a really long list of things for all of these script includes, like to not do's. And like literally, like, why is it taking 45 minutes? I'm like, like 77 things in a markdown file with build agent 2. So it has to read through that 77 every time you do something.
Yeah.
So guardrails are really good, but you want to make sure they're prescriptive enough to enforce company policies or best practices, but they're not descriptive enough where they start to take away from build agent performance and build agent capabilities.
Makes sense.
So you'll see here, oh, look at that again. It did find a new one. So it found a billing and a complaint case. So even though billing isn't related to police app, but it knows, you can see what it's doing. It's found by the complaint records. So it's showing it's reaching the metadata, and it did see an existing, there was a complaint one, but that was more around structured cases. So here, what's going to do new. So here we'll show you what the output looks like for a workflow. Oh, we could have did user adapt too, so we could have did the duplicate, but that is there. You'll have to take me at my word today that you can duplicate and modify and iterate on agents.
Or maybe that's a follow-up. You come back again.
Yeah, exactly. You can do
duplicating. Yeah.
You can do duplication. There is another session. So if you really want a really big deep dive into this, the ServiceNow Exchange program, where we have live sessions monthly. It's the Pro Dev Academy. So if you search for a community for Pro Dev Academy live sessions, I did run a session very similar with my teammate Dan Monk, where I did a full, I think it was like almost 115 minutes of building an app, building agents, building skills, building workflows. I got into debugging. That's a pretty good use case, a pretty good video to watch on advanced use cases in there.
I will also post that in the chat so people have that.
Yeah. You see here, it's reading the table phase approach. So even though I wanted to do a workflow, this is what's brilliant about build agents as well. Hey, I want to do a workflow. workflows, multiple agents or multiple skills all chained together. It says based on your goal in a table structure, here's what it's thinking. It gives you a phased approach. So it says, hey, you really don't need, multiple. You don't need a workflow. You need an agent. So that's good. It's kind of saving configuration. So here we can go again. We can just say dynamic user. We got to go to security questions. Build agent looked at the data, looked at the metadata, read the tables, read the structure, and it said, hey, you really don't need a workflow. What you're trying to do is like one thing. I would advise like getting in there and exploring, like a hands-on with this. It is some time, and if you get stuck, it's like you can ask build agent, like this guy's still running, right? Like all my parameters, he's on 6, so we have one more to go. He's getting close to the documentation phase. He's still building.
We have another question. This person's a superstar for asking questions. They've asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, we love it.
Thank you.
We love it.
When I build an AI agent involving the access part, the provider part, and now assist panel activations, do these require different scopes for the update set, or do they all use the same scope?
Build an agent. They will all be in the same scope unless you have to specifically call them for cross scope access.
So like if for some reason, well, you wouldn't have to build it. You would have to give it cross scope privileges then if you were building it in a separate scope and not in. Well, I didn't think about that, but yeah, to your point, like if you're building, if you're in Studio or in IDE in a scope, everything you create would end up in that scope that you created.
Correct. If you're in here now, if you wanted to read, for example, if this scoped application was going to leverage an agent that exists in a different scope in a workflow, that gets pretty tricky. Then you need to have some different cross scope privileges. Or if you're just going to make like a call to a skill that lived in a different scope, because we have seen that where some customers don't want to, I built all these now assist skills. They live in global. I just want to call those. Then you just have to build a bridge to get out and access those capabilities.
Yep. Oh, Mr. J. Couture has entered the chat, answering some questions about Build Agent Trial. Welcome.
Oh, Jay. There he is. We'll do any authenticated user. Hey, thanks, Jay, for the. I did remember, Jay will be proud. I did remember this time to plug the trial version.
You did. You did a great job of that. Yes.
Sometimes I forget.
It's okay. It's a lot to cover. It's a lot to remember.
Yeah.
That's why I always like specializing in Creator, because I only had one set of things to remember. I didn't have to remember everything across the platform anymore, which was really nice.
Yeah.
But yes.
So this is pretty interesting. So remember, we applied this was like we're going to create a net new application with Build Agent, but we wanted to apply agentic principles from design from starting our application. And this would, I say application loosely. This could be like any type of metadata you're building. You could apply a very similar, some very similar guardrails and guidance and best practices. So it built out the application, ran forever. Right? Don't mind the speed of that because we applied all those guardrails. But what it gives you the tables.
Oh, and a mermaid diagram.
Love nice little mermaid diagram. Gives you the key decisions, what was done, and it kind of shows you everything was built up. So you know, it's like, so hey, maybe this is one table, record producer, maybe it's some flows, maybe it's some weird cross-scope thing you're trying to do to build an agent to read complaint records that get forwarded to HR, sort of like some journey. Everything would be set up in like best practice for AI, and it kind of shows you what it's done, and it built everything and put things in a draft state too for my complaint resolution agent. So it built guardrails, new application, and a simple agent. So I didn't have any, right? There's like no real tables. All I'm really doing here, you're talking about cross scope, is I have an agent kind of with no data, but now I could port that agent to something else.
Awesome. And Jay's thrown out a nugget here too, is that Build Agent can also move items from global scope to a global app or global app package. I think we've called that in the past as well. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're just about at time, Rob. This has been an amazing session. I think people liked it. Lots of great questions in the chat. And maybe you'll have to come back and show us some of the new stuff that's coming out in future releases, and we'll make sure we safe harbor it. We'll make sure we safe harbor everything, and it's all covered there. We have one last question. I think we can squeeze it in. In agents or agentic workflow, please share the troubleshooting tips and tricks. I would be very happy. So if you have a community article or anything like that, Rob, I can share after the fact since we're wrapping up here.
Yep, we'll wrap up, but there is there's a pretty good prompting that I put out there, like an exploration of Build Agent, like how to prompt, how to explore, how to debug. There's some really good tips and tricks in there how you can make Build Agent do a deep dive, as it will go and explore and fix things on its own. It's pretty powerful.
Love that. Love that. Well, thank you so much this week, Rob. I really appreciate you being on. Thank you for everybody who joined today. Remember, next week we are talking about MCP servers connecting into Build Agent and using context external to the platform to build apps. So we'll have that session next week at 11 Eastern. Don't forget, also Earl is streaming on Wednesdays at 2 Eastern, I think, 11 Pacific. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow or subscribe to make sure you get the notifications for any of our streams that are going live. So with that, thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Cheers all. Bye.
Bye.